Let me tell you the truth they never taught you in school. Success does not go to the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. It goes to the one who refuses to quit. So if you're thinking about giving up, watch this first. If you were born into this world thinking that success comes quickly or easily, then let me tell you, you were sold a lie. The truth, the raw and unfiltered truth, is this: success belongs to the relentless. Not the most intelligent, not the most talented, not even the most connected. It belongs to those who simply refuse to quit. It belongs to those who persist beyond reason. It belongs to those who, when knocked down, rise back stronger, more determined, and more focused than ever before. Persistence is not a talent. It is not a gift. It is not a blessing reserved for the lucky. It is a decision, a daily decision to keep going when your mind screams to stop. A decision to keep fighting when your body is tired and your spirit is bruised. A decision to stand when everyone around you has already sat down. Let me be very clear. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has done so not because the journey was easy, but because they chose to persist. They chose to stay in the game when the odds were against them. They chose to keep walking when the road got dark. They chose to keep believing when no one else did. I have seen it with my own eyes. I have read it in the biographies of every great man and woman who built empires, who wrote their name in history, who rose from nothing to everything. They were not always the smartest in the room. They were not always the most educated, but they had persistence. They had grit. They had that unshakable decision that they would not quit, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Now, you might be wondering, why is persistence so powerful? Let me tell you. Because persistence is the antidote to failure. Every failure is simply a test, a question. How badly do you want this? Are you serious? Are you committed? Will you continue or will you fold? Most people fold. Most people quit on the first rejection, the first failure, the first moment of doubt. But the persistent individual sees every failure as fuel, every rejection as redirection, every obstacle as a challenge that must be conquered, not avoided. Do you think Thomas Edison gave up when his first light bulb failed? He tried over 10,000 times, 10,000 failures, 10,000 moments where a weaker man would have quit. But he did not, because he understood persistence. He understood that quitting was never an option if the goal was greatness. Do you think Henry Ford built an automobile empire on the first attempt? No. He failed in business 5 times before he succeeded. But he was persistent. He kept going. He learned, adjusted, endured, and the world knows his name today not because he never failed, but because he never gave up. And you who dreams of success, of freedom, of wealth, of legacy, you must understand this one truth. If you are not willing to persist, you are not willing to win, because the journey to success will test you. It will shake you. It will break you if you are not prepared, but it will also reward you if you endure. Let us break this down further. What does persistence look like in practice? Persistence is showing up when no one is watching. It is practicing your craft for hours, weeks, months without applause, without recognition, without reward. It is making phone calls after 100 rejections. It is creating new plans when the old ones fail. It is waking up early, staying up late, and doing whatever it takes, because the dream is worth more than your comfort. Persistence is internal. It is not a show for the world. It is not for social media. It is that voice inside that says, keep going. Just one more step. Just one more day. Just one more try. It is silent, but it is powerful. And do not confuse movement with persistence. Many people stay busy but never move forward. True persistence is not just activity. It is consistent, strategic effort toward a clearly defined goal. It is the refusal to quit on your dream even when the path is unclear. There will be days when you feel nothing is working. There will be seasons where results seem far away. There will be times when doubt creeps in and fear wraps around your mind like chains. In those moments, you will be tempted to quit. But those are the precise moments where persistence is born. Persistence is not needed when things are easy. It is not required when all is going well. It is forged in the fire of adversity. It is built through pain, through failure, through rejection. And the more you persist, the stronger you become. The more you persist, the closer you get. The more you persist, the more the world opens doors for you that were once locked. There is something magnetic about persistence. When you refuse to quit, opportunities begin to find you. People begin to notice. The universe begins to shift in your favor. Why? Because life respects those who refuse to be denied. But make no mistake, the path of persistence is not for the faint of heart. It is lonely at times, it is brutal, it requires discipline, sacrifice, and patience. You will lose friends, you will lose comfort, you may even lose sleep, but you will gain power, you will gain growth. And eventually, you will gain victory. So I ask you, what are you building that is worth your persistence? What is that dream that you cannot let go of? What is that purpose that keeps you awake at night? Because once you identify that, you must commit to it fully, not half-heartedly, not when it's convenient, but fully, with everything you have. And when the storms come, and they will, you stand tall. You remind yourself why you started. You remind yourself who you are. You remind yourself that winners never quit. Now I want you to understand this quitting is a habit, just like persistence is a habit. The more you quit, the easier it becomes. The more you persist, the stronger you become. You must choose which habit you are building, because one leads to regret, the other leads to reward. Think about this. Every time you wanted to quit but chose to continue, you grew. You became sharper. You became wiser. You built resilience. And that is the real treasure of persistence, not just the reward at the end, but the transformation along the way. When you persist, you develop character, you develop strength, you develop discipline. You become the kind of person who can handle success, who can sustain it, who can expand it. Because success is not just about achieving your goals. It is about becoming the person who deserves them. And that, my friend, is why persistence is non-negotiable. You see, the journey to success is a refining fire. It does not simply deliver rewards. It molds you, carves you, and strengthens you so that when the reward arrives, you can carry it with honor, with strength, and with wisdom. Without persistence, you are like a ship with no anchor, blown by the winds of doubt, distraction, and difficulty. But with persistence, you become unshakable. You become a force that the world cannot ignore. Now let me tell you what happens when you truly decide to persist. When you make that decision deep in your spirit, something shifts. You begin to act differently. You begin to think differently. Your standards rise. You no longer tolerate excuses. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for perfect timing. You stop waiting for the ideal situation. Because you realize those who wait never win. Persistent people are impatient with excuses, but patient with results. They do not need immediate gratification. They do not need a quick fix. They are builders. And builders understand the process. They understand that anything truly worthwhile takes time, takes effort, takes pain. When you persist, your energy begins to intimidate mediocrity. Average people will try to slow you down. They will call you obsessed. They will say you are pushing too hard. They will ask you why you are working so much, why you are dreaming so big. why you are sacrificing so much. But they do not understand you are not building an average life. You are not chasing average dreams. You are chasing something extraordinary, and extraordinary requires extraordinary persistence. Now I ask you, do you want to be remembered as someone who gave up when things got hard? Or do you want to be remembered as the one who refused to be broken? The one who stood when others fell? The one who pushed when others paused? The one who said, I will not stop until I reach what I was born for? There is a reason that most people never reach greatness. It is not because greatness is reserved for the few. It is because the majority choose comfort over challenge. They choose the easy way instead of the right way. But those who persist, those who burn with purpose and refuse to quit, they are the ones who make history. Let me remind you, every great story ever told is a story of persistence. It is a story of struggle, of pain, of hardship, and then triumph. But without the struggle, without the persistence, there is no triumph. There is no glory, there is no victory. You must train yourself to persist even when your emotions betray you. Emotions will lie to you. They will whisper, give up. They will say, this is not worth it. But your decision must be stronger than your feelings. Your commitment must be stronger than your emotions. Your purpose must be louder than your pain. You must become a master of delayed gratification, because persistence is not a sprint. It is not something you do for a day or a week. It is a long distance race. It is years of focused effort. It is decades of unwavering belief. It is showing up over and over again, even when the world is silent and your results are invisible. And here's what makes persistence a true superpower. Most people will not do it. Most people will quit. Most people will stop. So if you simply choose not to quit, you are already ahead. If you simply decide that you will not stop until you succeed, your success is already written. Let that sink in. Just by choosing to persist, truly persist, you already separate yourself from 90% of the world. And do not think persistence is just about external effort. It begins internally. It begins with your thoughts. The most persistent people do not just work harder, they think better. They think with clarity. They feed their minds daily with belief, with strength, with vision. They read, they listen, they study. They affirm, they visualize, because they know your actions can never be stronger than your thoughts. If you want to persist externally, you must persist mentally. You must feed your spirit. You must command your thoughts. You must become the master of your mindset, because your mind will test you. It will tell you stories of fear. It will replay memories of failure. It will cast doubt like shadows over your vision. But you must persist in believing. Persist in imagining. Persist in expecting. Persist in declaring, every day I will succeed. I will persist. I will rise. I will win. Now let me speak to your future, the one waiting on the other side of persistence. There is a version of you that is stronger, wiser, wealthier, healthier, more powerful, more respected, more fulfilled. That version is not born from luck. It is not born from shortcuts. It is born from fire, from pressure, from persistence. The road will not be easy. You will fall. You will cry. You will break down, but you will also rise. You will heal. You will rebuild. You will overcome. And that version of you will thank you for not quitting, for staying in the fight, for choosing to persist. So do not just work. Persist. Do not just try. Persist. Do not just wish. Persist. Let your life become a monument to persistence. Let your story be a story that others tell when they are ready to quit, a story that inspires them to keep going. Because in the end, it is not talent that wins. It is not intelligence that wins. It is not luck that wins. It is persistence. Persistence is the only guarantee. Talent can fade. Luck can vanish. Opportunity can disappear. But persistence remains. It endures. And those who endure, those who persist, are the ones who build legacies. So now, I challenge you, decide, decide today, right now, that you will persist, that you will never give up, that you will never quit, that no matter what stands in your way, you will keep moving forward, because you are stronger than your circumstances, you are greater than your failures, you are more powerful than your past. And if you persist, nothing can stop you. The world makes way for the man or woman who knows where they are going and refuses to be denied. Be that person, persist, and win. Now let us go deeper. Persistence is not just a habit. It is a philosophy, a code you live by. It is the engine behind every breakthrough. It is the invisible hand pushing you forward when everything else tries to pull you down. You see, life is not designed to be easy. It is designed to reveal who you are. It is built to test your will, your patience, your strength, your desire. And every obstacle placed in your path is not there to stop you. It is there to sharpen you. But only if you persist. When people say, "I tried," what they really mean is, "I quit too soon." Because if you truly tried, you would still be going. If you truly believed, you would still be fighting. True trying never ends until success arrives. Real effort does not stop because it gets hard. Real trying means doing, adjusting, improving, and repeating until results appear. Persistence means staying focused even when the results are invisible. Persistence means showing up after failure, not because you feel strong, but because you made a promise to yourself that you would not stop. And if you can learn to keep promises to yourself, you become unstoppable. That is where most people lose the battle. They break the promises they make to themselves. They say they want greatness but settle for mediocrity. They say they are committed but give up at the first resistance. They talk but they do not walk. They plan but they do not push. But you must be different. You must be a man or woman of decision, and that decision must be backed by discipline. That decision must be backed by fire. That decision must be backed by a hunger that will not die, because persistence without hunger is mechanical. Persistence fueled by desire is divine. So how do you build this hunger? You feed your mind daily with your vision. You write it down, you speak it, you surround yourself with it. You allow no room for distractions, for excuses, for hesitation. You lock into your purpose like your life depends on it, because it does. Your purpose is not a hobby. Your dream is not a game. Your vision is not optional. It is your assignment. It is your reason for being. And if you give up on it, you do not just lose a goal, you lose a piece of yourself. That is why persistence is so sacred. It is how you honor your calling. It is how you prove to the world and to yourself that you are worthy of the reward. You may not have all the answers today. That is okay. You may not know how you will win. That is okay. You may not have the skills, the tools, the support, not yet. But if you persist, everything you need will show up. The skills will be built. The people will come. The opportunities will arrive, but only if you refuse to quit. Understand this resistance is a sign that you are on the right path. You only meet resistance when you are doing something that matters. No one criticizes the man who does nothing. No one blocks the person going nowhere. But when you begin to rise, when you begin to build, when you begin to pursue something bigger than yourself, resistance will come. And that is when you must become more aggressive with your persistence. You must lean in, you must push harder, you must declare with your actions, not just your words, that you will not be moved. Because the moment you decide to persist no matter what, the game changes. Life stops playing with you, opportunities begin to open, you start walking in power, people start treating you differently because you treat yourself differently. The moment you say, "I do not care how long this takes, I am in until the end," you rise. Because true persistence changes you. It makes you more confident, more bold, more unshakable. You no longer beg for approval. You no longer wait for validation. You no longer worry about timelines. You become a creator of destiny. And creators do not stop until the vision is real. So if you are tired of starting over, stop quitting. If you are tired of losing momentum, stop doubting your mission. If you are tired of watching others succeed while you stand still, start persisting. Let persistence become your secret weapon. Let it be the fire that lights your every step. Let it be the voice that silences your fears. Let it be the commitment that outlasts every obstacle. And when the time comes, and it will, when you are faced with the decision to quit or continue, to retreat or rise, to surrender or stand, I want you to remember who you are. You are not here to quit. You are not here to give up. You are not here to be average. You are here to lead, to win, to conquer, to rise. You are here to show the world what is possible when a human being decides to never back down. And if you live that way, if you walk that way, if you persist with everything inside of you, there is no mountain too high, no enemy too strong, no dream too far. You will win, not by chance, not by luck, but by persistence. Now let us talk about fear. Fear is the invisible enemy that robs more dreams than failure ever could. Fear convinces people to stop before they even begin. Fear paints pictures of failure before the work even starts. And unless you confront fear with persistence, you will spend your life standing on the sidelines of your own potential. Fear whispers, "What if you fail?" Persistence answers, "What if I succeed?" Fear says, "What if people laugh?" Persistence says, "Let them watch me rise." Fear says, "What if it takes too long?" Persistence says, "I will take as long as it takes, but I will not stop." You must understand this fear is a liar. It is a thief. It is a story you are telling yourself, and every time you choose to persist, you silence fear. You tell fear it has no place in your journey. You choose faith. You choose courage. You choose action. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. And every time you take that step, every time you face what you fear and move anyway, you grow. Your spirit expands. Your power increases. You build the internal armor that nothing can break. Now hear this clearly: the world does not reward intentions. It rewards execution. It rewards persistence. The man who says, "I wanted to," and the man who says, "I did," are living in two different realities. One is dreaming, the other is building, and building requires daily effort. Persistence is not a once in a while decision. It is a lifestyle. It is showing up when no one claps for you. It is practicing when no one is watching. It is writing when your hands are tired. It is selling when everyone says no. It is preparing when the results are invisible. Winners do not wait for the mood to strike. They build habits. They create routines that make success inevitable. They eliminate the option of quitting from their vocabulary. They build a wall so high around their vision that doubt cannot enter. Let me give you the pattern of persistent people. 1. They start with a clear purpose. They know why they are doing what they are doing. They are not chasing random goals. They are locked in. 2. They expect resistance. They do not cry when problems come. They smile. They already knew the storm was coming. They trained for it. 3. They adjust but never abandon. If a method fails, they find another way. But the mission never changes. They do not walk away, they adapt. 4. They measure progress, not perfection. They understand growth happens daily. They focus on momentum, not miracles. 5. They protect their energy. They do not waste time around negativity, excuses, or gossip. They guard their mind, their time, their vision. 6. They finish what they start, even if it takes longer than expected, even if no one else believes in them, even if the world laughs, they finish. This is the code of the persistent. This is the DNA of champions. And if you want to live a life of greatness, of wealth, of legacy, then this must become your code too. Now, let us speak the truth. Quitting has a cost. Most people do not talk about this. They think quitting just ends the pain, but it does not. Quitting creates a different kind of pain, the pain of regret, the pain of what if, the pain of knowing you gave up too soon. You must understand every time you quit, you train your mind to surrender. And that habit spreads. You quit on your dream, and then you start quitting on your discipline. You quit on your goals, then on your relationships, then on your body, then on your character, until quitting becomes your identity. That is the true danger, because the man who quits often eventually forgets what it feels like to win. He becomes numb, comfortable, distracted, busy but not productive, alive but not truly living. Just existing, and deep down, he knows he left something behind, a dream, a purpose, a life he could have lived. But the man who persists even through failure, even through pain, he lives with power. He walks with purpose. He carries a fire that cannot be explained. Because even if he is still building, even if the reward has not come yet, he knows one thing for certain: he will never quit. And that alone makes him dangerous. That alone makes him unstoppable. You see, most people are not defeated by life. They are defeated by their own doubt. They quit mentally long before the battle is over. But not you. You are reading this because something inside you refuses to settle. Something inside you believes there is more, and you are right. But belief without persistence is empty. Dreams without discipline are illusions. You must back every desire with relentless action. You must move forward with faith even when the way is unclear. You must persist through every storm until the sun rises again, because it will. Storms do not last forever, but those who quit will never know what waited on the other side. So when the voices come, and they will, the voices that say you are tired, you are not good enough, you are wasting time, you are too late, you are too early, you are too far behind, you answer with one word: persist. When you feel like your strength is gone, persist. When you feel like the results are not showing, persist. When they laugh, when they doubt, when they say you cannot, persist. Because the truth is this: nothing can stop the man or woman who refuses to be stopped. Persistence is the master key. It unlocks doors that skill cannot. It defeats enemies that talent cannot. It outlasts circumstances that knowledge cannot. It is the silent force behind every great achievement. And it is already inside of you. Now let us talk about mental toughness. Persistence is born in the mind long before it is ever seen in action. The battlefield is not the outside world. It is your thoughts, your beliefs, your self-talk. If you win there, you will win everywhere else. The persistent man is not the one who feels no pain. He is the one who feels the pain, hears the noise, and keeps walking anyway. Mental toughness is a muscle. You build it every time you push past your emotions, every time you feel tired and still keep going, every time you feel like you are not enough but show up anyway, every time fear screams in your ear and you smile and say, "I will not quit." You are training yourself to be the kind of person who cannot be broken. And this mental toughness is not something you are born with. It is something you earn. You earn it through struggle, through repetition, through silence, through failure, through lonely mornings and quiet nights where no one is watching, but you keep working. And every time you persist, that mental armor gets stronger. Most people are controlled by their feelings. They say, "I do not feel like it today. I do not feel motivated. I do not feel ready." But feelings are liars. Feelings are fickle. Feelings are based on comfort and survival, not greatness. If you are going to win, you must learn to act in spite of how you feel. You must learn to train your mind to obey your purpose, not your mood, because motivation will come and go. Inspiration will rise and fall. But discipline and persistence, these are the constants that carry you when everything else falls apart. Now, understand this persistence does not mean perfection. You will mess up. You will fall short. You will have days where you are not at your best. But here is the difference between the quitter and the persistent one. The quitter uses failure as a reason to stop. The persistent one uses failure as fuel to rise. Every time you fall, get up. Every time you slip, reset. Every time you feel lost, return to your purpose. Do not dwell, do not delay, do not sink into guilt or shame. Persist, because the persistent mindset is not about never failing, it is about never staying down. And let me tell you something powerful, when you live like this long enough, you start to transform. You become a different kind of person. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. Your presence shifts. Your identity evolves. You stop saying, I hope this works, and you start saying, I will make this work. You stop waiting for things to get easier. You become stronger. You stop shrinking to fit in. You start rising to stand out. You stop chasing comfort. You start pursuing purpose, and people will notice. They will feel the shift. Some will support you. Some will resist you. But it will not matter because your persistence is no longer about them. It is between you and your destiny. Now I want to give you something practical. A blueprint, a map you can use every day to build unshakable persistence. Daily persistence blueprint. 1. Start with clarity. Every morning remind yourself what you are building, why it matters, who you are becoming. Write it, speak it, burn it into your mind. 2. Attack your day. Do not wait to feel ready. Move before the doubt sets in. Take one step, then another. Create momentum. 3. Keep promises to yourself. If you say you will do something, do it. Nothing builds confidence like self-respect. 4. Guard your energy. Stay away from people, content, and distractions that weaken your fire. Protect your focus like it is your life, because it is. 5. Review your progress. At the end of the day, ask, did I move closer to my goal today? If not, why? Adjust, improve, persist. 6. Visualize success. Before bed, close your eyes and see the result. See it clearly, feel it. Know that it is already yours if you persist. Repeat every day until it becomes who you are. Now let us ground this with real transformation. Think of the men and women you admire, the ones who changed history, built empires, moved the world. What do they all have in common? They persisted. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. She persisted. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He persisted. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before someone accepted his recipe. He persisted. These are not fairy tales. These are facts. These are men and women who bled, who struggled, who were laughed at, who were doubted, and they still persisted. And because they did, the world changed. What about you? What world will change because you refused to quit? What legacy will exist because you did not back down? What life will be saved? What family will be lifted? What generation will be inspired because you said, I will not stop? You must think bigger than your pain. You must think beyond your delay. You must believe that your persistence is not just about you, it is about those who will come after you. And that belief alone will give you strength. So now we close with this truth. Persistence is power. It is not loud, but it is final. It is not flashy, but it is unstoppable. It does not beg, it builds. It does not quit, it conquers. And if you choose to live persistently, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can keep you from the life you were born to live. So rise, stand up, look your pain in the face and say, you cannot stop me. Look your past in the face and say, you do not define me. Look your fear in the face and say, you do not control me. Because I am persistent. I am unshakable. I am unbreakable. I am the one who never quits. And because of that, I will win, not someday, today, every day, until the dream becomes real, until the promise is fulfilled, until the world knows my name, not because I got lucky, but because I persisted. Winners never quit, and I am a winner. If this message lit a fire inside you, then do not walk away empty. Hand it subscribe now and join the movement of those who refuse to quit, who rise, who persist, and who win. Your journey is just beginning.